everybody, welcome to the Scott Show podcast. We are live here on the wrestling show talking about WWE Raw. Now, I did make a podcast earlier today talking about AEW. It does start on October the 2nd on TNT Network from 8 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, kind of like SmackDown now. The reason I talked about it, folks, was because it's very interesting to me that we're going to have a Wednesday Night War, NXT versus AEW, and we'll see what happens there. And I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I was going to be critical of the AEW product. I'm critical of the Raw product. I'm always going to be a Raw person anyway. I've always loved Monday Night Raw. And this show, this time, just made it so much better. So let's get on to the Raw review. But first of all, before I do that again, welcome to the Scott Show. You can check us out at patreon.com/Scott Show. tinyurl.com/The Scott Show, or you can also check us out at thescottshow.com. We have everything on there. We are adding more stuff as we go along, including a poll on who you want to be president of the United States. So check that out. Okay, so we are going to talk about the Raw recap. It was a very interesting show. It did start out with Seth Rollins, the Universal Champion. Seth Rollins was on another broadcast on the network after the pay-per-view, talking about Lesnar and talking about the Universal Championship. He said that he always thought the champion should be front and center and be out there every week, which of course Brock wasn't, but the idea that Seth Rollins said that and it means a lot to me as far as what a champion should be. I agree with Seth on that, so I was glad to see him start out the show. He did talk about losing the tag team titles. Did talk about Braun Strowman, gave him mad props. I mean, he pushed him to the stars by talking about how good he was and how they beat the hell out of each other. And it will happen again. I think that was a great match, excellent contest between the two, and I'm looking forward to see it again. But Seth Rollins has a bigger fish to fry now, or may I say a bigger fiend to fry, as Bray Wyatt attacked him the night before at Clash of the Champions, and then the Firefly Funhouse starts out. And folks, I would just find it interesting to be in the audience, and then a kid's kind of like a Pee-wee's Funhouse, a Pee-wee's Playhouse thing kind of starts, Firefly Funhouse, and you get the video. And it's just like all catchy, and then it's Bray Wyatt standing there as the host, and he's being goofy, bringing out Ramblin' Rabbit. It's just so interesting that it is the hottest thing they have. I mean, I've heard other people say it's the hottest thing they have right now. I think the hottest thing they should have right now is Braun Strowman. But the Fiend is amazingly over. People love the character. And we will see what happens at Hell in a Cell. But it's going to be a great match, I think. If Bray Wyatt wins, I would be not sad at all. The Fiend is such a great character. And hopefully bring that into kind of a Halloween sort of thing. We'll just see what happens. But if the Survivor Series thing holds true, you would have Kofi Kingston of the New Day, who's the WWE Champion, against The Fiend, who would be the WWE Universal Champion. That would be an interesting match. So we move on and talk about Braun Strowman walking backstage. But before that, I want to cover something else. They talked about King of the Ring finals and Sasha and Bayley, but the thing was upside down. And little note, Kevin Dunn was not there. Obviously, you can kind of see his perfection of whatever he does. Not shown on this episode of Raw, folks, as the stuff was upside down. But Braun Strowman came backstage and said, next person to get in the ring gets these hands. Okay, let's see if that's true. Who's the next one out? The Raw Tag Team Champions, Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. They're going to have a tag team summit with the Revival, the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. They all come out and they all get fed to Braun Strowman. And mind you, I think the world of Braun. I think he's an amazing athlete. The guy just got everything that you need to have as far as a wrestler. But why do you feed the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Champions to Braun Strowman? I mean, Dolph Ziggler can bump, and that's great. And Robert Roode running away because he's got a shot at Seth Rollins, that was cool too. I'm going to give that a 1,000% awesomeness. There you go. But the tag team champions of both divisions getting fed to the big man, not exactly cool. So, it just is what it is. Hey, Robert Roode got away. So, he didn't exactly get fed to Strowman, which was interesting. So, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss were backstage sipping coffee, talking about their match later. It is interesting to note that Sasha Banks came out and said how the titles weren't important, and now they're going to fight for them tonight, which is kind of silly to me. It's just one of the kind of things I noticed, and it was just kind of silly. So, the OC versus the Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander. I love the tag team title, or the tag team little operation here with the OC and the Viking Raiders. So, big time shout out to those guys. AJ and Cedric. I saw the match a little bit at Clash of Champions. Not entirely sold on that match. So Cedric gets a phenomenal forearm. The OC wins the match. The OC attacks Cedric. Big brawl. Kind of 6-man tag team, everything. And AJ wins. So he won a Clash of Champions. He won the night. I don't think Cedric Alexander needs another title shot, because I'm not going to call that he will win. I think that if he does, it's going to be on a fluke. And then he gets his butt handed to him by AJ again. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm not seeing that go anywhere where I would want it to go. Then you see video of the 24/7 champion, R-Truth and Carmella. They are in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Of course, Pat Summitt is in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, and she is one of the most amazing women's coaches of all time. They got a special tour guide, Kane, the mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs. R-Truth is so hilarious. I mean, he thought he was Magic Johnson. He thought that he asking about the basketball and how big you would have to be to dribble that basketball. I mean, he's just hilarious. So R-Truth gets lots of points. Kane says he got the limo outside. Let's go take a look at the city. I don't know how it is that the mayor would just have a limo just waiting. But I guess if you do have the 24/7 champion, there is that. King of the Ring finals, Baron Corbin and Chad Gable. I'll tell you, I was going for Gable in this one, folks. He did wear the purple of the King. I thought, hey, this will be a great deal. And then I watched the match. Man, Corbin took some shots on him that were just so harsh. And they look good. The whole thing looked good. But man, it was vicious. So Baron Corbin ends up winning and becoming the 2019 King of the Ring. The coronation will actually happen on SmackDown tonight. So we will have that live and ready to rock and roll. So there you go. Now we get the gender reveal party for Maria and Mike Kanellis. I'll put Maria first on this because of how Mike's been treated. So Maria and Mike, and it's hosted by the Street Profits. So that'll be interesting also. So the Street Profits, they hosted it, but the big thing out of it was that Maria revealed that they were having a boy, and then she said the real father of the child was Ricochet. He looked like, what? Kind of surprised. So Ricochet got slapped in the face, and they're gonna go to the ring and have a fight. So that'll be interesting enough. Ricochet versus Mike Kanellis. Who's the real daddy? Whatever. Angelo Dawkins did tell Montez Ford he thought she was going to reveal him as the father, which is funny. I like the Street Profits. I'm going to see where they go. It'd be kind of fun. So Mike Kanellis and Ricochet had a fight, and nothing to this match really. Ricochet hit the recoil for the pin and the win. However, it just got weird, folks. So Mike Kanellis, he had a bad day. Maria had the microphone and said, she's trying to motivate Mike, but then she said the real father is Rusev. Rusev comes out and just kills Mike Kanellis. It just did not last long. 25 seconds puts him in the accolade, and it's game over for Mike Kanellis. I don't know where this is going to go. I think this is one of the most weirdest things. Rusev coming back for this, kind of sad. But the guy looked phenomenal. Rusev looked phenomenal. People are saying stuff about the mustache, whatever. But the guy's lost weight, and he looks good. So there is that. So shout out to Rusev for all the work that he's done for himself. He does look really good. Now Bray Wyatt did have the Firefly Funhouse in between those two segments, and he had photos hanging on the wall of people who he was adding to his wall of friendship. And then he said, hey, it's time to find some new friends. So the people hanging on the wall: Finn Balor, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle, Jerry Lawler, and they all got attacked by the Fiend. So we'll see what happens there. Interesting to see that this whole Mike and Maria thing. I want to see what happens with that. We'll see. So Kane and R-Truth took a tour of the university. They went to Tennessee Volunteer Stadium and got introduced to a police officer. Revealed that the police officer was a referee. And Truth, again, hilarious. He goes, you're not only the po-po, you're the ref, you're this, you're that. Which I think is hilarious. Again, R-Truth is really funny with that. R-Truth starts to walk away and hits the end zone thing, gets knocked out. Kane covers him, wins the 24/7 championship. And the funny part of this whole thing is Kane chanting that he still got it. I thought that was funny as hell. So, big time shout out to Glenn Jacobs, the winner of the 24/7 championship. We'll see what happens to him all throughout the night. Bayley and Sasha Banks were backstage. They did their thing. Corbin said he will have his special coronation tomorrow on SmackDown. And then Mysterio and Cesaro happened. And, folks, I am a big Cesaro fan. Not that much Mysterio. I mean, he's always been kind of a small guy, cruiserweight champion. He was world heavyweight champion, but gotta suspend your disbelief a lot for Mysterio to be champion in there. And, it was what it was. But Mysterio won the match, hitting the 619, and then of course getting the pin for the win. It's Rey Mysterio. He's been out there for a really long time. Good thing he won the match, but Cesaro deserves so much more. He really, really does. I'm just saying. So, there was an interesting thing that they talked about the draft, and then they had a vignette by the Authors of Pain, and they did an amazing job just talking about who they were and saying, hey, we're going to destroy you. We're just going to kill you guys. And so the future will be written in pain. Loved it. AOP, Authors of Pain. Excited to see you guys back. Glad you guys are back from injury. That's where they were, folks. One of them was injured. But now it's going to be more interesting. I'm looking forward to the tag team division there. And Sasha and Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. This was a non-title match, folks, between the first champs and the current champs. I did find something out really funny, that apparently Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, when they were deciding who was going to wrestle first, which it was Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross hit her in the butt, and it was great. It was just one of those funny moments on Instagram. Somebody took the picture or the video. It was hilarious. So check that out if you haven't yet. They're back and forth on Instagram. Great. I happen to think that Alexa Bliss is one of the most underrated women's athletes of all time. Alexa Bliss is just amazing. So she is the goddess for a reason. They are women's tag team champions for a reason. Bayley and Sasha Banks, who I've always enjoyed. I like the Boss, and good stuff going on the whole time. Great match, back and forth. Cross showing how crazy she was. It was just a good match, and Cross did most of the match. I think Alexa's probably still shaking a little bit from the night before. But Cross did tap out to the bank statement, so Sasha and Bayley win the match. It was still nice to give a push to the Raw Women's the Women's Tag Team Champions. But this did set up Banks and Lynch, and then of course Bayley and Charlotte. They're all having a big fight. We are going to have a Hell in a Cell match between Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. They're going to have it in the cell. Interesting match. I'm looking forward to seeing Sasha win. I hope she doesn't go 0-2 in the cell, but we'll see. They came back from break, and Kane's limo pulled up, and R-Truth was hiding on the top of it, and apparently referee was right there. Truth pins him, wins the 24/7 championship back, and then the most interesting part to this whole thing is he wins it back. Then Kane just grabs him, and Truth says, "Hey, you're mayor. You're busy already. I'm 24/7 champion. That's a 24/7 job. Yours is to don't kill me." And then they just walk away. And I thought that was cool because it's true. Being mayor of a city is probably a 24/7 job. I just thought it was funny. It was very entertaining by Kane and Truth. So, yeah, it worked out. So Lacey Evans and Dana Brooke get some time on the show. I was glad to see another women's match. Glad to see Dana Brooke out there. Of course, her boyfriend is a former WWE 24/7 Championship. He is Canner anyway. So for that, she gets tapped out by Lacey Evans with the sharpshooter. So apparently Lacey Evans and Natalya are not done yet. we'll figure out what happens with that. Maybe they'll get a pre-show match or something at Hell in a Cell. The next match that we had was Seth Rollins and Robert Roode. Now, I did call this yesterday on the Clash of Champions show. I said that, hey, you need to give Robert Roode a match against Seth Rollins, a title match. He did pin the champion the night before. So they give him a non-title match, which is cool, but it was still a main event to Raw. Robert Roode in the main event to Raw. That's something that I never thought I was going to say, but I'm pretty excited that happened. So it was a DQ win for Seth Rollins, and that's cool. Ziggler came out. He's been out the whole time. He attacked him. The OC comes out, 5-on-1 on Rollins, and then Kane comes out, which was really cool. Kane comes out and takes down the OC and everything else. So a big shout out for the Knox County Mayor, which I think they actually said, that they were one and the same, which kind of destroys the mystique a little bit of Kane, but also doesn't, because everybody knows who it is anyway. And it just is. So, after Kane stands tall in the middle of the ring, the Fiend comes out. The lights start flashing, and Kane turns around and gets the mandible claw by the Fiend Bray Wyatt. Really interesting how that whole thing happened. I mean, the shots on that were just terrific. Yeah, I thought the ending was great to it. Same as the night before, the Fiend taking over Monday Night Raw. Is he going to leave Hell in a Cell champion? We will find out. I believe it's October the 6th is Hell in a Cell. I'd love to see the Fiend win. The next event after that, though, I think might be Saudi Arabia. And then they go to Survivor Series. So we'll figure that out here on thescottshow.com. Cheap plug. We'll figure that out if that's the case. If it is, are they going to bring the Fiend to Saudi Arabia? Or what are they going to do? I'm interested. I hope you are too. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are live here on the Scott Show almost every single day. I do take a few days off every now and again to get my mind back in the game. But we are live. We are here, rocking and rolling, making it happen. Tomorrow we'll be here with the SmackDown show. It will be the WWE SmackDown review, which we will be talking about Baron Corbin's coronation and hopefully the setup for a match between the Iconics and the current tag team women's champions. Because you know what? The Iconics deserve those titles back. Even though I love Alexa Bliss. Can't go wrong with her. Alright, check us out on thescottshow.com, patreon.com/scottshow, or you can check us out at tinyurl.com/thescottshow for all your YouTube stuff. We will be posting videos sometime in the very near future. We'll catch you here real soon on thescottshow.com.